everyone, Chris here, and welcome to my channel, and welcome to this week's reading vlog. So we say week, but I'm using that term loosely because Bookoplathon is this weekend, and I'm going to be doing a separate reading vlog for that. So in this vlog, you'll hear me talk about the books I read Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday up to I think it's 7 or 8 p.m. my time is when the readathon starts, because it starts Becca's time and Becca is in BST. And then I will wrap things up with anything I read Sunday night. I think is how I'm going to do this, because with it being a 48-hour readathon, that means if it starts at 7 p.m. my time on Friday, it will end on Sunday at 7 p.m. my time. So then I would have another 5 hours of reading that I will do that isn't for the Bookoplathon. So that, I think, is how this reading vlog is going to work. I will be sure to let you know when I'm checking in Friday and when that will cut off, and then when I pick things back up on Sunday. It is actually Tuesday morning, and I did not get to check in yesterday because it was a really crappy weather day with a lot of thunderstorms, and thunderstorms make me extremely anxious, so the last thing I wanted to do was be on camera. I actually honestly barely read anything because I was so focused on distracting myself from the anxiety I was feeling. But that's not to say I didn't read anything. I did read a bit of Storm. Well, listen to a bit of Storm, because I've been listening to the audiobook of this because my prompt was scribbed, so I had to read the scribbed version even though I had the physical copy. I am now on page 224, so hopefully I can finish this week. We're following a girl named Becca who rescues a guy named Chris and soon finds out that he has the ability to manipulate water. Cloudy, what are you doing? Gotta love the adventures of cats in the background. So Chris has the ability to manipulate water. He's an elemental. And he and his brothers have the ability to manipulate different elements. And it is extremely dangerous. And she is now tied to him. And it makes Becca's life far more complicated because people are wondering if she has those same powers too. It's not really well known that people have elemental powers, but there are a group of people who are supposed to keep an eye on people like Chris and his family, and Becca has been kind of dragged into that, and it is causing a lot of strife and danger in her life. And I've read this before, and my reading tastes have changed a lot since I read it, so I'm not enjoying it as much as I did the first go-round. And I don't love the kind of romantic love triangle that's in here between Becca, Chris, and another guy named Hunter. Mainly because I don't like the love triangle trope. It is very rarely done well. And a lot of times with the love triangle trope, I tend to want the center of that love triangle with the person they don't end up with. So that definitely tends to take my enjoyment out of it. But I don't necessarily think I'm disliking it because I like the elemental part and the magical powers and the mystery going on with Chris and his brothers and the people who are kind of coming after them because they have these powers. So I am enjoying that part, so I can definitely see me continuing on with the series, especially considering I know I liked book 2 when I read it before because I read the first 2 books in the series. So I will likely continue on, at least for now, and see how it goes. As for my reading plans this week, well, outside of the 48-hour readathon, I know what I'm doing for the first 2 prompts, but I am not going to talk about that here because, well, I'm going to save that for the Bookoplathon vlog. What I would like to do is I'm partway through Aurora Burning. I would like to finish that before Bookoplathon starts. I've started the Time Castaways and I would like to finish this. I see no reason why either of those things isn't 100% completely doable. And I want to read as much of this as I can because I kind of set it down to focus on sequels. So I'm behind on my schedule. So I would like to make another decent dent in this. So we will see how that goes. I don't know how much reading I am going to get done. I'm also trying to edit videos and film videos, and we'll see how all of that goes. I'm actually making some really great progress on my TBR due to the round of Final Book Support Group because a lot of the books I had on my TBR were sequels, so I've already read a lot of my TBR. So that is actually quite exciting because I think originally I needed to average like 350 pages a day, somewhere around there, if I wanted to complete all the books I had on my TBR in May. However, I am now down around like 200. So definitely reading all of those sequels means I made quite the dent. And both of the books that fulfill the first 2 prompts for Bookoplathon are on my TBR, so I've already managed to make Bookoplathon work with books I was already planning on reading anyways. I obviously can't plan everything because, well, I have no idea what the rules are going to be. I don't know if I can read 8 books in 48 hours, but I may give it a go. Either way, I'm hoping I can fulfill all 8 prompts at the very least. We'll see how that goes, but I think that's it for this check-in now. I haven't really done much reading, but I wanted to let you know what the plan was for this week, because this week's vlog is going to be a little weird and what I hoped to read. So I will check back in with you soon and hopefully have finished some books. So it is Friday evening, and now the Bookoplathon is starting. I thought I would check in and let you know what I had read since Monday. First up, I finished The Mona Lisa Key, and as this is a 5-star prediction, I won't be telling you my thoughts and feelings on this, but I did want to let you know that I finished it. I finished Storm. I don't think I enjoyed this anywhere near as much as I did the first time I read it. We're following this girl named Becca. Yeah. We're following this girl named Becca, and she ends up rescuing this boy named Chris and soon finds out that he has the ability to control an element, as do the rest of his family, and it really throws her into this mystery because there are this group of people that is tasked with making sure that people like Chris and his brothers don't harm anybody with their powers, and it's created a lot of issues, and because Becca's spending time with them, she kind of gets marked with the same brush as Chris and his brothers. I wasn't super into the romance of this book. That didn't interest me at all, but I liked the idea of the elemental magic. And I liked the mystery that was going on into this book as Becca figured things out with, like, not knowing what was going on with everybody at first and trying to figure out who she could trust and realizing that this was a lot bigger than she thought it was. I do plan to continue to read the series, and I will hopefully continue on with Spark in the near future, but we'll see. I've read Spark before too, so that would be a reread. It was definitely a good thing I reread this because I had forgotten a lot of things. So if I had just tried to pick back up where I left off, I think I would have been very confused. So I think I'm going to go like 3.75 stars, but that could change when I actually sit down to rate it. Either way, I'm going to say I liked it. I liked it enough to continue the series, but it's not like a new favorite or anything. Then I read Two Girls, a Clock, and a Crooked House, and I think I'm going 3.5 stars on this. In this book, we're following Amy, and she has a friend that she calls Moo, and she and Moo end up stumbling across a device that allows them to travel back in time, and kind of hijinks ensue from there. This book was alright. There were some things I enjoyed about it. Like, there were some lessons that were taught in this book, and like statements that were made that I thought were really important and I definitely connected with. But it's very quirky. I think quirky is the best way I can describe it. And sometimes the quirkiness worked for me and sometimes it didn't. Like, one of the quirks of this book is, for instance, if somebody were to swear, they wouldn't just not do it because it's a middle grade book. It would be like, kind of like edited out. Like it would say, something like a word that shouldn't be used here, or a really bad word that shouldn't be used, or something like that in like brackets. So I wasn't sure like that. Another quirk was, and I believe this is something I have seen mentioned with both TV shows, movies, and books, that people going to the bathroom doesn't get talked about a lot. But in this book, there's a lot of talk of them needing to pee. or feeling like they were going to pee, or being so scared they might pee, and I'm not sure how I felt about that either. But there was certain aspects to it that I did like, so I don't feel like I wasted my time reading it, but it definitely won't be one that I reread. So yeah, it was all right, and I think maybe the parts that I didn't like I would have enjoyed more had I been the target age, but I'm not, so who knows. And then I started Hooked on a Feline, which is the 13th book in the Magical Cats Mystery series, because I was looking for an audiobook and I was in the mood for a cozy mystery, and I know I love this series. This is the most recent book in the series, I believe, so once I finish this, I will be caught up. I'm not that far into it. We've only just found out who died, and we're still kind of learning the circumstances and starting to piece things together. So I'm enjoying that one so far, but at this point, it's the 13th book in the series. I would be really surprised if I suddenly started hating it. And then I think the only other update I have is that I've read some more of the 1619 project. I'm now on page 219. This is still extremely interesting and at the same time heartbreaking and eye-opening, and I'm definitely enjoying my read of this and seeing some of the parallels, like I've said in previous vlogs, to current things going on, and also understanding, as somebody who is not Black, how the history of the way Black people have been treated in this country can influence their mindset and their decisions and the way they view situations in current day America. Because I keep reminding myself that it wasn't that long ago that segregation was a thing. I mean, it happened years and years before I was born, but it really wasn't all that long ago, because, like, Martin Luther King was doing his I Have a Dream speech when my mom was a teenager. And, like, if she had been Black, I would have grown up with a parent who had to deal with segregation. That would be one generation removed from the generation I am part of. And now, granted, I'm a later in life baby, but that means that, you know, you've got grandparents. If you want to take me as a later in life baby, but you had, like, people's grandparents lived through segregation. It wasn't that long ago. So I can totally understand how growing up with people who lived through something like that can affect how you view the world, because, well, you know intimately how unfair life was for members of your family. So it is definitely interesting to see that perspective and be reminded that it really wasn't all that long ago that these things were happening, and none of it is okay. So, like I said, still enjoying this and feeling like I'm learning something, and I hopefully, coming out of this, will have a better understanding of Black people's history, the history of our country, and the way it has treated the minorities of our country, because they've drawn parallels themselves, and just hopefully come out of it being a wiser, more thoughtful person and a better ally if I ever get into a situation where I need to be. I mean, there's lots of situations where I already am, like when I go to the voting booth, but a real life situation that has nothing to do with me casting a ballot, I at least want to go into that armed with the knowledge that this is where they're coming from, this is why they might be reacting, and trying to maybe put myself in their shoes for a minute and not assume the worst, even though I think because of white privilege, you're kind of raised a certain way to see a certain thing and to believe, at least from where I'm sitting, that racism is a thing of the past and it's not that bad, and I don't think that's true. I really don't. So I'm going to continue to read this. The only other book I was reading was Aurora Burning, and I haven't really picked this back up, but there's a reason for that. This is a library book, and every single time I have picked this up, I end up starting to suffer allergy symptoms. Like I get like a scratchy throat and my sinuses start to run. So I'm wondering if there is something I'm allergic to, like the last house this was in. So I've been trying to pick it up during the day, but then I keep forgetting about it. And I remember it at night when I'm further away from when I took my allergy meds. So at some point I will get back to this and finish this, but it's less of a priority right now because my allergies have been bad anyway. So I was enjoying my reread. It has nothing to do with the actual content of the book and has everything to do with the actual copy of the book. So we'll see. I'll get back to this at some point, but I won't be reading any of these in the next few days because the plan is to smash out one book per prompt for Bookoplathon. So we will see how it goes, and Bookoplathon has started. So I am going to hop off of here so that I can go read and see how much I can read in the next 48 hours. Hi. So it is Monday afternoon, and I finally got time to sit down and film the wrap-up to this week's vlog. So even though I only had 5 hours left of Sunday, I did manage to get some reading done, and this was despite the fact that I did manage to read a book for each prompt in Bookoplathon. I actually finished Hooked on a Feline by Sophie Kelly, which is the 13th book in the Magical Cats mystery series. I didn't enjoy this one as much as the last one, but I'm still enjoying the series. I didn't manage to figure out who had done it in this one, so I enjoyed the mystery aspect. I cannot wait for book 14 to see what happens in that. I then started Cameron Battle and the Hidden Kingdom, and I am on page 36, so didn't get very far in this, but it is due back to the library, so I've now added it to my must-read list before the end of May because I would like to not rack up a ton of fines. So I've only just started this, but it's already quite intriguing, and I'm curious to see what happens with Cameron. And I believe it has West African and Igbo history and mythology. So I'm excited to read more about a different mythology. Again, I really enjoy that. And then the only other reading I did was I started The Veiled Throne, which is the third book in the Dandelion Dynasty, and this is quite the chunker. But I figured I'm doing good with my TBR, so I figured I might as well start this. I'm about 60 pages in, and I'm getting my feet because these books are extremely complicated, and there's a lot of characters, and it takes me a minute to figure out who we're following and why we're following them and what is going on. So I've only just started this, so I've got quite the ways to go. But I'm excited to find out what happens next to everybody, and hopefully I can get this done before the end of May. So that's the only real update, but I would still say for 5 hours to have finished a book and started 2 others is pretty decent. Bookoplathon was a lot of fun, and I really enjoyed doing that, and I'm looking forward to the full round, hopefully later this year. So yeah, that's all for this week's reading vlog. All of my social media, including my Discord, is linked in the description below if you'd like to come chat with me. If you've made it this far in the video, leave me puzzle piece emojis, like this video, and subscribe to my channel, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye!